Welcome to a new mini Big Bun Game Club episode. I want to discuss my progress with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That's right, I'm still playing the game in November. I'm in chapter 5 right now, okay? So, yeah, I've been playing it. It's funny to me. I when Nintendo announced that they were going to be the only ones selling the special edition for Xenoblade 3, I kind of knew that that sucked because I always feel like when they sell through like Best Buy, Amazon, GameStop, like I feel like that always gives you a decent shot to get it, or at least gives you the impression that they're gonna do other restocks or whatever. Like it seems like those sites are pretty fair to get what you want to for the most part. But when they said it was going to be on Nintendo, I was like, this kind of sucks. I don't trust Nintendo that much because like honestly, who goes to Nintendo.com to buy physical games? Like I just don't get that. Uh, and knowing with the pandemic, it makes it even harder because everyone would want to order online only. Like everyone's doing it, so you're kind of competing with like bots, scalpers, other people, all this kind of stuff going into it. So I really didn't have any time to think like, oh, do I want this? Because also keep in mind, for some reason, I kind of don't get it for most of these games. I would play them, enjoy the games, but then like take a break from it and never go back to it. It happened like two times, and the third time it's kind of like I'll get into that. I'll get into that. My first Xenoblade game was the Torna expansion. Yeah, that was the first game I wanted to play. Then everyone yelled at me saying, "Theo, you fucked up. You should be playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, then the expansion. You're ruining everything." And I was like, "Okay, fine. I'll wait for the main game to go on sale, then I'll play the expansion." Okay. So I dropped it for that reason. The first game comes out in the meantime, and I liked the beginning of the game. I liked everything about it. And then I was like, I want to take a break. I'm gonna get back to this. I'm gonna play this other game or something. Something distracted me from Xenoblade One. Uh, and then I dropped it and never went back to it. Still, I still it's still sitting on my shelf and waiting for me to pop it back in at some point in the future. Uh, but yeah, I don't know why. I just never went back to Xenoblade One. I just don't know. Like I played it, I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then it's like, yeah, I don't want to play this anymore. I don't get it. Does anyone else feel that way when you buy a game and you're liking the game and you're enjoying it, but for some reason once you take that break, you just don't go back to it? Does that happen to anyone? I can't be the only one. I can't be. So that happened to me in one. Two. Okay, two is a little different. It's a little different because I I I hate Rex. And part of me is like is debating if I ever go back to it. Am I going back to it for the right reasons? Like am I just going to force myself to play this game? Like I don't know. Like I just hate Rex and everything for what Rex stands for. I play that game and it's like okay, like I hate Rex. And to make matters worse, and it's gonna sound like a meme, but bear with me on this. Video Game Donkey has a video about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and everyone hates, and I know everyone hates Donkey's takes on JRPGs, but he makes fun of this one character in Xenoblade 2 that makes fun weird noises and shit, and that is how I feel about this game. I just can't stand a lot of the shit that this game was throwing at me. Like it was to the point where I was getting annoyed, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to get back to this game. Like this game just kind of seems to have to stomach a lot of shit to get to the parts I want to see. Because the thing that I'm interested in Xenoblade 2 is literally just the Pyra and Mithra stuff, and it's like I have to sit through shit to get to that, and I'm debating like maybe I should just watch the cutscenes at this point. Like, do I really want to sit through a game and be miserable to do that? Like, I don't know. The only thing that's kind of making me lean to keep playing too is I remember this one tweet I saw years ago where this person was describing his experience with the final boss, and he said it was the worst boss fight he has ever seen in like a game he has played. Like he said it was awful. And not defendable, whatever. And if I try to remember what he said, I remember he said something about colors and color matching or some shit. Like, I vaguely remember it. I just remember this dude like hated it and said this was awful. I don't remember, like, I want to say it's like you have to match something to get to the boss to do damage to the boss fight, and the boss can insta kill you at any time. Like, I I don't know what it is, but I remember reading that, thinking to myself, I kind of want to see what this boss fight is. But again, it's the final boss, so I have to play through the whole game to get to it. And it's like, it's a JRPG, and it's fucking Xenoblade 2, and I have to sit through Rex shit and all this other anime nonsense. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to sit through it. Uh, right now, as now that I'm doing some streams, videos, all this kind of stuff, I am debating maybe I should stream Xenoblade 2. Maybe that's the only way I could beat it. But I don't know. I don't know. So whatever. I dropped 2 just because of that. That was the, like, I was playing it, I was like, okay, I need to take a break from this game. And then I never really thought to go back to it. And every time it was a thought in my mind, I kind of laughed about it. I was like, oh, Xenoblade 2. All right, let's play some real games. I don't know why with the other Xenoblade games that I was just like, yeah, this game is great. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I don't know why. I don't know why. Anyways, Xenoblade 3, I got that game, played Chapter 1, decided to take a break, and then I never went back to it. Till now. Until after I beat Bayonetta 3. After I beat Bayonetta 3, literally, I was sitting there thinking, I should really go back to Xenoblade 3. That should be the game I should be focusing on. So I popped it back in, and I have been liking the game ever since. I've actually, and a lot of you out there are gonna feel this. You're gonna feel this in the core. I willingly stopped playing Guilty Gear to play Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I mean, to show you, like, look, I'm wearing a Guilty Gear shirt, dude. I'm wearing a Guilty Gear shirt, and I'm saying that, right now, as I'm making this video, I'm thinking about going back and playing Xenoblade 3 to get further in. But yeah, I stopped playing Guilty Gear. I was playing Xenoblade 3 more. I've been thinking about that way more. It's like, oh man, I want to get back into Xenoblade. And I get back into it. Oh shit, this stuff's getting interesting. I want to keep going, and I end up constantly, getting deeper and deeper. Uh, so yeah, this game was able to pull me away from Guilty Gear for this period of time for me to want to beat it. So I'm actually really enjoying the game the more I've been playing it. But mostly, I want to say the story is what's gripping me, but it's also the gameplay. The gameplay of Xenoblade has always felt odd to me and jarring in the sense that you're seeing your character kind of just do an attack in the air, and you're not seeing them connect their attack to the enemy, and yet you're still doing damage. And same vice versa. They, like, it doesn't look like the enemy is connecting their attacks, and yet they're still dealing damage. That was always the thing that, maybe deep down, that's why I dropped Xenoblade. Maybe that was just so bothering to me that it's just like, I can't just play a game where I'm not, like, seeing the connect of the hits or whatever. Like, at least with, like, SMT3, you do, like, a punch move, you see Demi-Fiend literally, like, zoom into the enemy and just punch their face, you at least get to see that. But with this, it's like you don't really see the connect, and that might have been why I dropped playing the game for so long. And now I've actually kind of grown to like that, because I think now I'm seeing it more as you're plugging in commands for your character to do, and then they do them, and then whatever. And I do kind of like that aspect of it. I also thought that this game was way too overwhelming for like how many things you have to keep in track. Like, there's like your auto skills or whatever on the bottom right. On the bottom left, you have these other skill sets. You have the interlink system. You have your health bars on the top left. You have all these like lines showing you either enemy incoming attack, your attack, a chain saying what enemies like locked into you or whatever the fuck, like all that kind of stuff, like all that. Like, I was like, I'm gonna lose track of so many things, and characters are just gonna die. It's kind of similar to how I felt about Chrono Trigger in the beginning of that game, where it's like, if you're not really thinking about what you're doing, it's gonna be rough. And I felt that way with with this for a while until recently. I started getting into it more, where it's like, oh yeah, you can like switch between your party members. You're not really locked into playing the main character, which is nice. I've been finding out that I think I prefer RPGs to not give you a game over if the main character dies. I think now that should be the norm. I Because it's far more fun to try to make do with the party members you have than, oh well, the main guy went home, you guys go home too. It's like, yeah, no, fuck that. So I enjoy that side of it. I like the interlink system. It adds a nice like double trigger system to the whole mix, where if you just want to deal a little bit more damage for a bit, you could just link up, and it also saves the character if they're near death. You could just do that, and you might be able to like still win and not have them die. And because I'm not sure if a party member dies, do they still get experience? I still don't know that to this day, and I don't want to, and I haven't tried it to see what happens. So I don't know. I don't know if XP carries over regardless or what. But the other thing that I use Interlink as a benefit for is you get this other thing called the chain attack. The chain attack is kind of fun to kind of build up, and I love. I just have to say this: the music for the chain attack is insanely addictive. Literally every time I do the chain attack, I'm just sitting there like this humming along. It's such a good track. Whoever made that track, it's like how I feel about Devil Trigger in Devil May Cry 5, where it's this audible cocaine. It's like I want more. I want to listen to the song like every day. Like that's like could be like 10 hours, and I'll listen to it. It's such a good track, and it's like for like a mechanic that can go by quickly if you really want to, because you could end the chain attack at any time. But it's like I really just go through the whole chain attack just to listen to the theme, as well as doing like the status buffs and bonus attacks and all that kind of stuff as well. The chain attacks are fun to do because it can help you really shift the battle if you're really strapped. Like there were a lot of boss fights that I would have lost if I just did not do the chain battle. So I was really just waiting for that to fill up. If my character that I could interlink with was low on health and we were just about to hit the chain attack, I just instantly interlink and just do that, and then I do the chain battle. That way, I can have the full character roster to do the chain battle as they're like interlinked. So it's great. I do like that later on they kind of mix in the interlinks into the chain battle system, which is nice. It's a nice little addition because it gives you an incentive to build up meter, because you could get because I think they only do the interlink Ouroboros whatever chain attack when they're level 3. If they're like level 2, I don't think they're added. I'm not sure, but I think there's only like level 3. I do like that they add that kind of aspect to it. The other thing I like is the class system. You could mix and match character classes as you see fit. It kind of reminds me of Yakuza Like a Dragon in that kind of way, but better. Yakuza Like a Dragon, I've said this before, my main issue with it is you could pick any class you want, but by the time you get to the end of the game, the final boss pretty much, or near the final boss, not exactly the final boss, but the near the end game, it just kind of pushes you to go back to this other class that they gave you at the beginning of the game that you didn't do, and it's like, so what was the point of me being any class I want if really the only feasible way to beat the final boss was using that one class? So it kind of felt like it kind of took away the choice in that situation. Meanwhile, with this, it feels like you can be any class you want. I think the game does give you like incentives to keep each class within its inheritor. Like I just got this staff character. I think her character name is like Aisha, I want to say, or Asha. I don't remember her name. She has a staff. Her inheritor is Uni, one of the characters of the game, and it's like, okay, like yeah, I'll have Uni do that class once she maxes out the other, but you're not constricted to that. The game I think gives you like some benefits for doing it, but you're never like forced to do it. You can always just have them be any class you want them to be, which I like. I do like the game lets you choose what class you want them to be, uh, regardless. So I do like that era of custom class system. And you gain more classes as you go by just getting more heroes added to your party. So you have like the main cast, which is like 6 characters, I think. I want to say six. I'll say six for now. And then you have like a hero character, which you can get by doing these hero quests along the game. They're kind of like side missions. They're in between. I would say they're in between side and main story, because some of them are tied to the main story, but some of them you can really kind of just pass and miss completely if you're just not like exploring the area enough. So I do like that the hero system is there to give you an incentive to explore the map, and it gives you an incentive to really mix and match the party you want. So I do like all these kind of aspects that build a stronger game. I've really found myself finding out that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 does a really good job utilizing everything that the game has to offer. Like you're not going to be playing this game and not doing something that the game offers. You could avoid cooking, but sometimes you might just want to cook just to see what perks you can get. Same with the gem system. I am kind of struggling with the gem system. It's mostly just I need to find more resources, which I'm struggling with because I'm probably not looking in the right places. But I only have like level 2 gems for the most part on each class system, which is nice. At least get some variety, but I do want to grind for more gems at some point. Uh, but yeah, the combat is solid. The gameplay is great. I love the exploration of it so far. Each area feels new and different. It's not like, oh, I'm going to the same empty field or whatever, which is funny because when Breath of the Wild was in development, Nintendo had Monolith help them with the overworld for Breath of the Wild. Like they helped design that, and everyone, depending on who you ask about Breath of the Wild, you'll either hear, "Oh, it's a great open world," or you'll hear, "It's dead, devoid of life," or whatever. And it's funny to me that they made Breath of the Wild like feel that way to some people, I guess. And then when you play Xenoblade 3, it's like the complete opposite, where I feel everything is alive there. Like you're seeing all these enemies, you're going to different villages or towns, you're seeing all this kind of stuff. The one thing I will say that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 does way better than any other game. There's no fucking chore work to get fast points. The fast travel you just get by walking. You walk to an area and it's like, you made it to this new area. Oh, you can now fast travel here anytime. And it's like, th- this should be the norm. Look, I get it. Breath of the Wild, they did that big tower shit. Oh, climb it and you get fast travel. That okay, that's cool. Yeah, cute, fun, yippee, right? But every game has done that so much to the point where I don't want to do it. Like literally, like the last Ass Creed game I played was Odyssey, and I didn't even realize you have to go to these stupid little points out of the way to get fast travel. And I was like not decently far, but I was like far enough in the game that I said, "Fuck this game." The fact that I have to go so far to get to fast travel, and if I don't do, I have to do all this. What? Like, fuck off. So at least Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is like, yeah, walk around everywhere. Oh, you have like fast travel, like that. And it's like, why can't we do that? Enough with this like bullshit of like, oh, you have to clear out this area and then you can like get fast travel. Oh, you need to climb this big ass tower. Fuck that shit. Fuck it. Let you just walk to an area, because it also, as I said before, it encourages you to explore. You can walk around so many areas, discover fast travel, and find things that might help you on your quest. It is such a brilliant system that it makes all these dumbass fucking quests to make you climb towers seem like a waste of time. So fuck that shit. Xenoblade did it right. Everyone should do that. Copy that. Enough with this tower defense bullshit to get something you should be getting for free. Okay, enough. And also, none of this, oh, lock it behind story. You could get pretty far just by walking around and all that kind of stuff, even though it also progresses the story. Everything just feeds into each other. That's the brilliance of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It's gameplay, obviously. But yeah, so I like that aspect of it. The exploration is fun. I do like that you could really just get lost. It creates this good problem where you could be doing a main mission, and then you'll end up finding yourself like, oh, I want to go over there. What's over there? Oh, that's a big enemy. I want to see if I could take that or whatever. There's all these different enemy types, different conflicts you can interject yourself into. The thing I really like about the pacing of the game is the experience. So far, I'm only 5 chapters in. I've not felt like there was this big jump in experience where I was just severely behind. There were some fights where I was like maybe like 1 or 2 levels under that than the requirement, and I still did decently fine. And then there's one where I was like the same level as the enemy, and I was still getting my ass handed to me. But I never sat there and like, how do I grind? Where should I go? Like I ran into that problem a lot in SMT5, where it's like, yeah, I could do these other fights to get XP, but they don't give you enough to really get you to level up. And it, in a pessimistic way, it does feel like that they did that intentionally to drive DLC sales for that stupid XP grind DLC, which I stupidly fucking bought because I just wanted to beat the game at that point. So I do feel guilty for falling for Alice's stupid marketing scheme. But at least with this, I don't feel that way because there's all these different enemy types that you could just kind of run into and fight and get experience for. You could get bonus experience from certain enemies. So there's all these ways for you to get experience that I have never felt like I am strapped on experience or that I'm not skilled enough to handle anything. Like there was a Mobius fight where I think I was like level 22 and he was like level 24. Not that big level wise, but he has the upper hand obviously. And I was doing pretty good damage and I was hanging in there for as long as I could to really get to the end of it, and I finally beat him and it felt so successful. Like the more I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it kind of made me forget how weird and off it feels when you're seeing your attacks not connect and yet they still do damage. So the battle system really encourages that. The class system is nice. I love that I can mix and match the classes for each character. That really feels like a level of strategy to it. I like that when you die to a fight, you can either when it's like I think it's only for a boss fight. If you do like normal trash fights, so you just teleport you to like the last checkpoint, I guess. But for boss fights, if you die, you can either just quit and go to the last checkpoint, or you could just continue the fight. And when you retry the battle, they let you go through your character and go through your experience, go through your gear and all this stuff that I think is really nice because it lets you reevaluate what you've added to your character. It's like, okay, maybe they shouldn't be a healer this time around. Maybe they should be more aggressive and all that. So I do like that they get you at least a chance for you to reevaluate your loadout before attempting. And then if you really can't beat it, you always just go back to a checkpoint. So I do like that it doesn't seem that punishing. It seems more driven to get you to just rethink how you do each fight. It's more about the individual fight than the grand scope of loss. And I know that we've talked about that a lot in Game Club, where we discuss the balance of you do a fight and when you lose, you should like lose something. And I think that with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it's more about, at least with boss fights, hey, just try something different for the boss fight, and it might work out. If not, hey, just grind. And I think that's enough. That's all that game needs to accomplish to get you to try something new. Especially when you're doing a normal fight, because sometimes you get roped into like trash mobs that you don't really want to fight anyway. But it never really feels like you're at a disadvantage completely sometimes. So I do like a lot of that. I like the mini boss characters that you get to see roaming the area. So that, as I said before, it helps you gain experience if you really need it. The only thing I will say I kind of wish this game had that it doesn't, I wish it has a better gear system. Like you have accessories that kind of substitute that, and I guess same with the gems. But I kind of wish it had like you could buy armor. Oh, buy armor that's like perfect for your character and that kind of stuff. I wish it had that because I I I don't know what it is. I feel like that I'm not adequately uh geared for anything in this game. Like I just feel like that I'm not getting a concept, like be it the gems or the accessories, but the accessories I just don't the accessories don't really feel that great. They feel just more like little bonuses you get alongside what you need, which is fine. but I just want something more solid. Like I wish I could just get a like an armor piece and wear that. Then the accessories could be added on top of that. The way that it's set up, it feels very constricting. Like you gain more slots the more you level up. By level 50, you get like 3 slots. I think 30 or 25, you get like 2. You start off with 1. So you kind of like just kind of constricted with what you're getting. So you really have to think what you're equipping. But I just kind of wish it had a better gear system. That's the only thing with the gameplay that I just kind of wish it did, because I don't really like the way it's handling that as is. I don't know. It just seems too much when you could just condense it to just buy armor. Like because I don't really find myself going to shops in this game as much as I feel like I should be, because I see all these like shopkeeps in each town. I'm like, yeah, why am I gonna go there? They're not gonna have anything I really want. Because I like the gear I have on, and it's like, well, I want something that has good defense and good critical rates or whatever. I mean, I guess it's more I have to like really look at late game kind of stuff. I don't know. It's something that I probably have to keep like keeping an eye out to really see, but it's just not really there. I like these supply drops as well in the overworld. That at least gives you some good resources. But yeah, it's just in general, everything about the overworld is great in Xenoblade 3. It really gives you the motive to explore it. Let's talk about the story. The story of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm not getting into major spoilers. I'm only going to talk about the stuff I've seen up to chapter 5 or so of Xenoblade 3. I really liked it. I think the beginning of the story, it kind of does what I like a little bit. I love stories that drop you into like a war zone. It's like, oh, look at this big fight's going on. It's kind of like reminding me of Digital Devil Saga in that kind of way, where it's like it drops you in and you're like trying to figure out what's going on. So I do like that a lot, and it seems more cinematic in that kind of way. Like you have Noah narrate like what's going on, kind of, and that kind of shit. It's interesting. I like that kind of build up to it. uh the only thing about the story that I might need to rewatch some cutscenes, because I really don't know why the party is all buddy buddy all of a sudden, and I don't feel like that they ever like developed them very well to do that, because I I remember a lot of the dialogue where they kept talking about, this is a temporary truce. After this, we're gonna fuck each other up. Yeah, you guys are awful. Fuck you. That, whatever. They were like they hated each other at the beginning of the game. Uh but now, like, ever since I picked the game back up, it's like, yeah, man, you're cool. Oh, dude, are you okay? Dude, don't worry, man. We're gonna beat them up. Yeah, fuck the consoles. I was like, when when did they suddenly like become that close? Like, I understand, like, yeah, they want to work together and to figure out what's going on, but I don't remember there ever being a part where they're like, damn, they do care or whatever. Like, and I don't know if I missed anything, because I felt that way a little bit with Tales of Arise, because I think after I did that video and I talked about it, I read some comments and then I talked to some other people after that, and they kind of like, no, no, it makes sense. They just talked about, and the person explained a little bit, and I was like, oh, I guess maybe I just didn't like really pay attention, I guess. So I don't know if it's the same for here, because I don't recall them ever like being like, you know, addressing that they wanted to kill each other like a few days ago or whatever. Uh, and because now they're just like, there was a cutscene recently where Lance was literally telling me like, yeah, no, said you're a badass, like you could have killed us all, man. Wow. I was like, okay, and now you're eating her soup. Like, like it makes sense. Like, I'm glad that they're friends. I like what it meant. Like that they've come a long way, and they've seen beyond the conflict that was ingrained to them. But I don't remember what part was it that was like, now we're cool. Now we trust each other. We're cool. Whatever. That I don't remember them ever addressing that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone will correct me on that. Uh, I do like that the thing I also like about the beginning, as all this shit's going on, the main characters run to this guy with a pompadour, I can't remember his name. I want to say his name is like Bormio or whatever. But he was I like the character design, and I was really, really, really fucking pissed he died in the beginning of the game because I was like, dude, I want to see him do more shit, and then he dies. I was like, oh, okay. But I do like though that he was kind of the glue that stuck them together because so the part I am at, they made it to the lost numbers area, and they're discussing like that they don't understand why the Pompadour Man. That's what I call him now. I'm gonna call him Pompadour Man. Entrusted the power of Ouroboros to the main characters, and now as I'm recording this, I kind of like it kind of dawned on me. It was probably because he saw them as like they're opposing factions. If these six characters can like bond together, shit's gonna happen. Like change is gonna happen because when you have like outside force trying to force change, it may not completely stick or work because they'll be seen at as enemies or whatever. Like it's not gonna work out. But if you have like two of the opposing factions like forced to work together and they see all this shit at the same time together, it'll be a stronger force to like turn against the consoles. So I think I like that intent that I'm totally theorizing, even though I guarantee you that's why because it's kind of like you know but I do like that he saw that in them and it's like and he saw that they were just kids and they should oh my god there's a fly here and it's just I got it. I killed it, guys. Death caught on tape. No, uh-oh. I thought I got it. This bullshit. I saw it flying and I swear I caught it. Wait. Maybe that's it. No, I was just lint. Sometimes like it falls and you don't know where it fell. This is some bullshit. A fly derailed the fucking video, and I did so many takes of this. I'm not re-recording this. Fuck, I'm gonna keep going. That's the way. That's the way. If you record anything and something distracts you, just keep going. Fuck it. So, uh, I do like that the Pomodoro Man saw that like these are just kids pretty much, and they should have full lives, whatever. So I do like the emotional reason why Pomodoro Man uh gave them Ouroboros. Now I almost forgot to mention this. Every fucking time they bring up Ouroboros, I just think of Resident Evil 5. I just think of Wesker, and it's like, dude, is this the world Wesker was trying to envision? Epic comedy. You guys are laughing. But yeah, I just kept thinking about that every time they brought it up. I'm also a sucker for this for some of the stuff that some things do. Like Ava does this a lot with Cele, especially the rebuilds. I love when they go to this like ominous like dark area and you just see the console just chilling out, like talking about what they saw. They report about Ouroboros and all this stuff. Like I do love that kind of shit. It and then I also loved later on in the game by chapter 3 or 4, whatever. You see them sitting in a movie theater watching like Unity looking at her dead husk, and I was like, dude, I love shit like this. That it just looks like that it's borderline breaking the fourth wall, and I'm just wondering, is this gonna be more Gonzo by the end of the game? Like I don't know. Like why make them sit at a movie theater to watch stuff that you're experiencing? Like it kind of feels like it's gonna do something really like fucking weird with it, like Suda 51 shit or Kojima shit. I don't know, but I'm just a sucker for that kind of oddball kind of stuff. So I've been loving the story more and more. And honestly, that's kind of what helped me like stick with the game. Next to the gameplay, that stuff I just been loving. I just love every time you see the consoles. I was like, I want to know more. I want to know more about this. There is a plot twist. I will say I saw coming, and it's funny because on one hand I did watch a Donkey video about Xenoblade 3 a little bit. I didn't see it all the way through, because the second I saw um I'll say the console's name, Jay. I saw him and I was like, oh, okay, like I X'd out the video. But even before that, I figured he would be a console anyway. If you really pay attention to the beginning of the game, like obviously, like you don't see this character in the party, present versus the flashbacks. You see him a lot, but you don't see him in the present. It's like, yeah, it's that to me when I think that's my only gripe with the story. Not that it like what they do with it, what they do with that plot twist. I think is fine. I think it's kind of interesting, and I feel they're doing something a little bit different than what I was expecting it to go. Which I don't know for sure yet, but there were some like I did the fight when you're trying to stop the Annihilator or whatever. There was a part in that cutscene when you win the fight that made me sit there and think there's more to this than like no I now I'm the bad guy. It's like there's something more to it. That's the impression I get. So I don't know if it's going to like the to what I think it's going to where you'd usually expect it to go. So I'm kind of interested to see where it's gonna go. But I do think the flashbacks I think kind of are a little much in some ways. Like I like the character building it does, but it was a little too like obvious for some things. Like oh okay yeah I like you don't really need to be mad at Donkey about that. I know a lot of people say that Donkey like showed the ending in his video. I don't know where he showed the ending, and I don't tell me or you'll be the next Donkey. But anyways, uh I do think the story is really interesting. I do like that it's not more like you kind of think it's about the conflict between Agnes and excuse me, Agnes and Kevez. You think it's about that, and it's like it really isn't. There's more to it than that, and some of it's pretty easy to kind of grasp because once you understand, okay, the life goes to the life clocks, and the life clocks are like important, whatever. And then you later on realize like the consoles have a very steep investment in them, and you could kind of just assume why. Like it's like oh, okay, yeah, they probably want that because it probably benefits them in some way. So yeah, that's why they're mad at you for destroying the life clocks. Okay, that makes sense. The flame, I think it's the flame clock guy. But it's whatever. I do think the that Morbius are interesting villains because I don't know how they fit in just yet, and especially with the queens, and then there's the real queens and all this kind of stuff. Like the only thing I'm kind of like little on edge about is I don't want this to be a story where the planet was fine with humans and normal, and then aliens showed up and fucked everything up. I don't want that to happen. I hope that's not the case. If it's that, then I don't know. I don't know. It depends on how it pays off, I guess. If that's the ending, but I won't. I'll reserve judgment until I beat the game. Uh, I still find the consoles interesting. I think the aspect of everything is interesting. It deals a lot with aging and growing old and all that kind of stuff. So I do wonder how it's gonna tie in. Especially they show N and you see Noah obviously, and you know a little bit about N at that point. Like yeah, okay, like they're the same, but why? And that's what I want to. That's what I'm kind of like eager for. The other theory that I could wheel out is time travel, which I hope there is no such thing as time travel in this game. I don't think there is, but I hope there isn't. Either there is, then that's sad. That's sad for me. But I'm interested in seeing where it's gonna go. I just think there's a lot of stuff going on in the story that it's constantly engaging to the point where it doesn't detract from the gameplay like most Sony games do these days, where it's like the game is kind of centered around the story. This at least feels like a good balance between gameplay and story, where the gameplay hooks you and the story keeps you intrigued to see what happens next. So I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen because it's a lot has happened, and it kind of brings me back to what Charles was discussing with Chrono Trigger to me, saying like how in the beginning of the game you're here, then like in a few minutes you're over there or whatever. Like you're constantly moving in that story. I feel for the most part, Xenoblade 3 kind of does that same kind of thing. Maybe not as fast, but when things start to move, it's like, holy shit, like things are changing, and now you're here, now you're there, and all this kind of stuff. But the height of the story for me, though, this part is kind of where I started to love Xenoblade 3 a little too much story wise. Is I love the whole drama between Ethel and Kamaravi, like that kind of shit. I just love. They fought to the bitter end for each other in a sign of respect. They both respected each other as fighters, as warriors, and they wanted to fight to the end. Ethel spares him. She won the match, and she was like, I'm good, and then walks off. They then get into this fight where they're kind of coerced to fighting against Ouroboros, obviously by the consuls. But as they're fighting, they realize, fuck this, we have our own lives. Let's die the way we want to die. And they just start fighting each other. And even as the consuls are draining their life, like, fine, no, you're not gonna listen to us, fine, we'll just fucking kill you, bitch. They're still fighting. And they die on their terms, which is really, really awesome. I love that whole like drama kind of shit. And then having the main characters like not understand their own like reason for fighting. It's just everything about it I love. It's stuff that I love in like certain shows, animes, movies, whatever. When you have people that are so stubborn with their own ideals that they're willing to take it so far they'll die on their own terms, it's like chef's kiss. It's such a good like moment. And at that point I was really like, dude, I gotta see where this goes. Uh though this kind of suck in a little bit, a little minor way. I wanted Ethel to be like before I got all the other party members. I wanted Ethel to be a party member. I really liked Ethel's character. I was like, she has a cool design. She has a cool design, guys. I just liked everything about Ethel. I was like, oh, yeah, I just want her to be in my party. So I was like looking up a guide to see like how can I get her in my party, because I did her hero quest, but I didn't know if there was anything else I needed to do to have her be a permanent party member. So I read like, oh, in chapter 6, like you just have to do this or whatever. And I was like, okay, well I'm on chapter 4 right now, so I guess I don't have to worry about it now then. And then I saw her die in chapter 4, and I was like, oh, oops. And then like you get to the part in the story. This is I guess spoiler territory, but it's up to chapter 5. You see like the pods, and you see Ethel's like pod baby, whatever, and it's like, so what are they gonna do with this? And I kind of hope this is the one thing. Like they did this one segment in right before you board the ship to get to this island. That's where I stopped, by the way. I went to this island, and that's where I stopped right now. But before that, you had to get this fuel. They give you like an option to either go in and help this character get the fuel, or to stay and keep watch. I just stayed and kept watch because these people hate them. So I stir the pot. So I was like, okay, we'll just do that. And I'm wondering, I kind of hope that there's a dilemma in the future chapter where, because they kind of talk like Uni talks to this one person, to Monica at this point, saying like, what are they gonna do with these pod babies? Why don't you like wake them up? And she's like, well, we don't want them to be like they have short lives as they are. We don't want them to be wrapped up in this shit. We want them to like form their own opinion and not be tainted with this like dystopia or whatever. Which is admirable. Whatever. But I want to see this dilemma where it's like, I had it and now I forgot it. Well, it's kind of like you choose either to wake her up or not, or like do you wake her up and have her be Ethel, like just, hey, you were this one character that was really cool, and she fought alongside us and she was a fighter or whatever, or just let her be your own person that doesn't want to fight at all. And I wonder if they're gonna give you that option where like you could not necessarily condition her, but just like, hey, come fight, or hey, stay here, be cool, whatever. I hope that they give you that kind of option, because I want to see if there's any ramifications with it. Uh, Other than that, I don't know what they're gonna do with these pod babies. Other than maybe you get them as a party member, but I don't know. It's all I read so far in that guide when it comes to getting Ethel was chapter 6, and then the rest was gobbledygook. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck this means. Okay, enough. I'll worry about it when I get there. So that's how I took that. But yeah, the story I think so far is interesting. Just little bits and pieces I've been telling you in this video. I just think it it does so much that makes me more intrigued about Xenoblade 1 as well, because Xenoblade 1, I wouldn't say it has a one-to-one similar beginning, but it kind of has the same kind of pull it did that this one has, where you're seeing all this stuff going on and you're like, where's this gonna go? They talk about this legendary sword, where's that gonna go? All that kind of stuff. While with this, it's more about the world building. Like, what's up with this world? Why are these people like fighting each other? What's really going on here? Oh, you see, the queen that you thought you were fighting for is actually fake. What's the real queen? What's going on here? What's this whole thing with the consoles? What's a golden console? Like, what is this? Like, it's to the point where I was kind of debating, like, are these like deities or gods that created life on this planet, and now their creations are rising up against them? Like, I don't know. And I'm curious to see where this is gonna go. And I think that's really what I love about this game so far, is that both the gameplay and story are getting me like hooked into getting further in. I've just been enjoying the story a lot, and I think the other thing is that what this game does very well is the same thing I kind of like about Tales of Arise, is that it does that the journey of going from like where you were in the beginning of the game to where you are now, it actually, despite what I said earlier about like the that I don't really quite buy that they're super best friends now, but uh I do like the chemistry of between each character. Like the stuff between like London and Senna are cool. Mio and Noah are like, and cool characters together. That kind of stuff. And them as a unit is just it's interesting, and I think it makes them more stronger cast, which I kind of, again, going back to Xenoblade 2, I don't know if I'd ever like that game as much as this, because as far as what I understand from two's battle system is that your party members are pretty much blades you collect in the game. Like, and I don't really remember this game very well, and that kind of sours a little bit, because it's it's not cool in the sense of like, oh, you're playing SMT and your party members are a bunch of demons. It's like, no, these are just, I don't know. I'll have to get back into two at some point to really get a better opinion. But I just remember them just being all blades. And it's like, okay, like I don't know. But I'll see. Maybe I'm just going off of a preconceived notion of just hating Rex. I just hate Rex. Fuck Rex. He ruined the game. I would have liked Xenoblade 2 if it wasn't for Rex. That's why, Smash Brothers was great when they made that trailer for Mythra and Pyrrha and they kind of shat on Rex. So they get it. Even Nintendo hates Rex. And what? That's a base decision to make. Rex sucks. I don't. Rex lovers out there, I question all of them. But yeah, I'm liking Xenoblade 3. I'm gonna play it more. I'll do another video, kind of discussing what I liked and what I disliked about that certain play session. But it's been pretty solid. Like, honestly, if I beat this in time, and this might be my game of the year for 2022, dude, maybe, but we'll see. It's a solid game. As of right now, if I would recommend it, if you like RPGs, I don't see why not. I know Persona 5 is out now. I would have said, "Oh, get this game. If you're hungry for Persona, buy Xenoblade 3." But now Persona 5 is on Switch, and it's like, yeah, okay. But hey, Xenoblade 3 is a new game. It's not a re-release, so there you go. That's another incentive. I also like the. Oh, before I close out, I almost forgot to bring up the art style of this game. I like the art style. I know some people might argue that the anime style kind of stuff that this game does is kind of played out and stuff, which I understand. Like, I will say, when they remade Xenoblade 1, it kind of hit me a little bit more, because I know Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on the Wii, and that had a very realistic look to it. Like, it went for realism almost. And a lot of people were just kind of disappointed that the remake leaned more on the anime style that 2 made. And I kind of get that, because I do think it is weird that, like, that's where the game started and now it's stuck with this. And I would agree to a point that it I think it would be nice to break up the monotony. If I think honestly, what Xenoblade should be doing for each game, just change the art style completely. Like, hey, you did anime stuff for the first two, maybe the fourth one, go back to realism or do something different. Like, do something different, odd. Because I think even with SMT, they changed the art style a little bit with each installment, uh, for the most part. So I kind of wish that Xenoblade did that too, because it is kind of weird that one looked the way it did, then they remade it in the same engine with two, and then that's where we're at right now. And it's like, I don't know, but I can't say I dislike the style either. I think it's great for what it is. It's not as rough as you would think. I don't know if it would be rough, but I liked it all the same. It's a great art style, great art, great animation, great everything. I like the cutscenes. It's great. The voice acting. I don't. It's funny to me. I've been exposed to two sides of this debate. I've seen people say this voice acting is garbage and bad and shitty, and I see people who are literally upset that the VGAs are not giving Xenoblade Chronicles 3 a nomination for voice acting. And I honestly don't know where I land on it, because one, they all have like is it British accents or English accents? Whatever, British accents, whatever, fuck it. They have accents. And for the most part, I think the voice acting is fine. I don't necessarily think it's garbage. If you really want garbage, play Breath of the Wild. I mean, that's pretty rough. That Nintendo couldn't get good voice actors. Like, I am not against giving new talent a spotlight, but I mean, they come on. Like, it. It just really feels like they're reading a script in Breath of the Wild. This, at least, they seemed invested in the characters that they were portraying. Uh, Though I will say it kind of leans more heavily on the main cast, the voice acting. The main characters that carry the story, they have the best actors. The Naupons have decent voice acting. I will say I like Riku. Riku's a good Naupon. I like the reason why I like Riku in Xenoblade 3 is for the dumbest reasons. His design looks kind of dumb. Like, it just looks like that. It just looks like a joke. Like, oh yeah, give him like badass hair and a leather jacket. It's like, okay. And the dude talks funny too. He's like, Riku know that too. Manana is dumb or whatever. I don't know. Like, I can't do a good Riku impression, and I don't know what. It's just every time he talks, it's like it's there could be something serious going on, and then Riku would interject, and it would just like be like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's goofy gonzo fun. So that's what I like about Riku. Manana is okay, Manana only works because Riku's there. Let's be honest. I think Manana works as like just as a guest character. I will. And one final thing: the Manana, Riku, those characters are better than Teddy. Teddy cannot compare to Riku's badassness. Look. If anyone's in the comment on this video saying Teddy is better than Riku, they're wrong immediately. Don't listen to them. It's like that movie Memento. Don't listen to his lies. It's fucking stupid. Riku would definitely kick Teddy's ass. Teddy doesn't know shit. He's dumb. He's too busy thinking he's a bear or some dumb shit. Riku took down demons. Okay, he took down giant monsters. He could take down a fucking dumbass Teddy. Anyways, that's it for this mini game club video. Hope you enjoyed it. It was one I wanted to make, and I somehow made this an hour long. So that's it. Bye bye.